Well, it is now Sunday morning, and we are going to forget about the problems that we made for ourselves when we first got going here yesterday. So we're more or less starting off with a clean sheet of paper. However, we do have an issue with the sensor that goes on this shaft for the tailings elevator here. So when I was looking things over here yesterday morning, I seen this sensor just sits on that sprocket there, and it has to read that the sprocket is actually moving. It's just got a little magnet in there, and it kind of gets its reading that way. Well, the screws fell out. We're gonna go ahead and see if we can't get that mounted back in there. We got to take this shield off. Maybe we can roll the ladder out of the way and see if we can just put some small little screws back in there to get that to work the way it should. Now what I did is I plugged a plug into it and I tied the wire. Well, I hooked the wires together, so we've got this guy here plugged into it, and that can run that way, but we might as well get the sensor hooked back up. So the fuel just got done pumping, so I might as well go over and pull the hose out, and we'll get our shroud off, see if we can't get that fastened back in there and get rolling here. Okay, so we've got our switch on there, or our sensor rather, and then this is the plug that goes to it right here. We've just got the wires tied together with another plug back in it to close that circuit, because that's what it needs to be. Is it needs to be closed, and it'll open that circuit when that shaft stops moving and that magnet has nothing to come up against. So I've used this same wire plug, or I cut this wire plug off of the old straw walker sensor, the one for the separator. So we'll get our wire pulled back out here. I need to bring this around. What the heck is it? Coming up out of here. It wants to go down through there in that loom holder, and then we need to get it plugged in, and then we'll put a zip tie or two around it so that it doesn't end up in the it doesn't end up in this chain here. So let me see if I can't. Oh, I gotta get in there somehow. So I'll get that plugged in. Probably gotta move this ladder out of the way. Yeah, I get this ladder out of the way, and then that plug is right here. All right, let me do some climbing here. Alright, that's all plugged in there. So, just take a peek at it from the bottom side. That's plugged in. And what I used was some cheap fasteners that I got at Harbor Freight a long while ago, and they were a little long, so I had to cut them off. But there is lock nuts on there, so that shouldn't go anywhere. We'll just make sure. Yeah, we're in good shape there. That should stay there. Now go ahead and fire up. and see how this goes here. Bang, bang. There. Gotta get some air going in here. Alright, so it was this sensor here that was coming on with that tailing elevator with the sensor off of there. Start up the separator, start up the head. Bingo! Alright, let's get rolling here. Get our air up on high. We should be good to go. Alright. I idled it down. Now all these sensors come on because they recognize that there's not enough RPMs to satisfy those sensors. So, yip-a-doo. Tim's just coming in to get topped off. We put a couple of dumps on that trailer yesterday, and we didn't finish loading it. So he's just getting her pulled in there. Sarah will dump onto him, and he'll be able to go ahead and take it on out of here. Alrighty. Oh, Timothy's got shorts on today. Alex just pulling back in the field. Her truck is loaded. She took Andrew over to Rake, which is on the other farm there, which it's not only a few miles away from here. And they're going to be able to start baling straw here in a little while. Well, I am not really sure where we left off with the last little bit of videoing that I did. I know I didn't video much from finishing this field to moving on to the next one to where we are right now. But at any rate, we got rained out. They baled a good portion of this. We've got windrows missing there, up there, and so on and so forth. We got about an inch of rain, and Andrew is going to ted this out. We left this Western Star here. We're just going to move this out of his way. He has not tedded before, so we need to give him a little crash course on that. All he really needs to know is how to unfold that tedder. I think I could guide him right from the ground. All right, you gotta hold your switch. Hold your switch. He'll get this unfolded, and then he'll take off tedding here. You gotta hold the switch on and run the remote. No, that's the wrong remote. That's the wheels. There you go. Wait till that's almost on the ground. All right, stop. Now let off the switch and run your remote. The other remote turns the wheels so that you could ted. Keep going, ted material away from the hedgerow. All right, that other remote turns the wheels, so get the wheels straight. The other remote turns the wheels, so get the wheels straight, the little wheels. Okay, so when you unfold this and fold it up, have the wheels, the main transport wheels, touching the ground so that it doesn't tip over. It stabilizes it. Now, hold that switch and hit the remote. That'll bring them wheels up off the ground. There you go. Now you're in TED mode. When you're tedding, when you're moving with this tedder, you have to have it on when it's down when you're moving, just like the rake. So, go ahead. Get your seat moved down there, shorty. Did it lock? Did it lock? Pull it right down. There. Get right on there. There, I think it locked. Push up on it. Make sure it's locked. It's locked? Alright. So he'll get this tedded out and let the sun get on it for the majority of today anyways. And probably third, fourth gear. Oh, there we go. We got it out of park assist. And you just got to find the gear. I think he's in second. Oh, that's fourth. Wide open. All right. Looks like he'll be able to get this done. We'll have to come back in a while here and check on him. The sun is starting to come out a little bit here now, but all right. Well, we are back at the shop now. Andrew, he'll be in an hour and a half or two tedding that, and we've got a little project here that we've got to work on, and that is the sand truck. The cab is ready to fall off of it. So the cab has a support coming off of the tubular frame. It's just a 3x10 box tube right there coming all the way up front. And what they have is a piece of, I don't know, 2x4 or something coming butt welded off the side of that over underneath the cab, along with a gusset coming up underneath it. One in the front here and one, well, about, I guess it is right at the back. Well, what has happened is this tube, I don't know if you can see it from here, but the tube is tore at the top, so it's ripped across the top like this, and then it's ripped down across the vertical end of it, and it's allowing this cab to settle down this way. So if you look down in there, I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Maybe we'll put a light on it. Maybe you can see it. It is right here. This is all cut away right there. And then, yeah. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to pull this cab up off of this so that we can get in there and work on it. The other option I have is to just come down alongside it with another tube and a gusset and whatever, but we're going to try to get this cab raised up off of there so that we can get in on that tube a little easier and fix it. So we can roll out in here and show you what this is like. You really can't see much down in here other than the way they have it built. So it is a 2x4, I think that's 4-inch, rectangular tube, butt welded. There, you guys can see that a little better if I hold this back a ways. So there's a 2x4, I think that's 4, I don't think it's 3, it's 3-inch. 2x3 rectangular tube welded to this 3x10, then they've got a little piece of angle iron coming up across it, and it is tore right there and at the top. You guys can't see too good here. It's tore back to it's about there. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can't get this cab off. There's a couple of bolts that hold it. We might have to cut them, and we'll see if we can't get this cab raised up here. Well, we have our fasteners removed under the cab that should lift off of those two cross members. There's some hydraulic hoses that bolted in underneath. We've got those unhooked, and I'm gonna try doing this with this strap through the window. I'm not sure how effective that's gonna be. I don't wanna break these little grooves. So we're gonna lift, see how it is doing. We might have to put a D-ring, weld a D-ring to the top of the cab on either side. But we're first gonna try it this way. So let's go ahead and lift it up a little bit more. Well, I really don't like the way that is lifting. It's not centered enough, or it's not balanced enough, so I think I'm just gonna weld a D-ring on either side and just lift it that way. Because my luck, I'll end up breaking both of these window frames, and they are no fun to put in. So we'll set this back down. The other idea is to swing a strap around the bottom, but the trouble with swinging a strap down through the bottom, it's kind of angled right here, and that might pose a problem as well. So looks like D-rings it is. Well, we have this cab lifted up off of there, and other than maybe unhooking some more hoses from the back of the cab, we can leave it right where it is. So what we have is this top rectangular tube is all split, and it has allowed this front cross member to lean down. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean that all up. Try to get a grinder in there. Probably won't be able to. Put a quick weld across that. Maybe lay a piece of angle iron over it or something. But we can put a plate on there and weld up the front and get it back together. But we've got to check on Andrew. I think he's about done raking, or tedding rather, and we can get him over on that other farm, and he can start tedding there. So we'll go ahead and clean this up, get some material laid out, and figure out just how we're going to go about fixing this. We've got that welded now, so that's just where it cracked and broke away. So we've got that done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to burn the paint off of this rear cross member where that is butt welded to the rectangular tube. It is all cracked and broke away there as well. Andrew, he is done tedding that field that he was on, or those two fields that are there. So we're going to help him move to another field and service the combine, and then we'll come back and we'll finish this up once we get back from there. Well, it's been a couple hours and Andrew has this all tedded, but we're gonna go ahead and move him over to that next farm. I got Sarah with me. You want to say hello? Hello. He could drive to that next farm, but to be honest with you, between Andrew and Sarah, they haven't had too good a luck on this road. It hasn't been their fault. Retard's not paying attention, but we'll leave it at that, right? Yeah. Oh, everybody's dying to know. I kind of explained what happened to Andrew when he was coming up this hill here a couple years ago, and prior to that, about a year and a half before that, yeah, Sarah was coming up through the 9560, seen a truck coming towards her. She stopped, and the woman stopped and then proceeded on and ran right into the front wheel on the 9560. Yeah, so we'll see what kind of shape this is in. Boy, this is a lot better shape. Boy, this is in real good shape. If we had a little more sun, I would say let's rake it, but let's let it lay until tomorrow. Yeah, so yeah, there's some wet spots there though. Yeah. Huh. Well, I'll take that over for you, all right? Okay, we are back here to the shop. We really didn't film anything in the field once we left with the rakes. Andrew ended up tedding that next farm. Me and Sarah serviced the combine, screwed around there for quite a little while. He finished the tedding on that farm, and then we came home. I didn't film anything. I'll show you that farm in the next video. It's kind of a mess of what we have going on for a crop there. Again, I'll show it to you in the next video.
What you fixing on there?
Cross members. Yeah, they're busted.
Now the front end?
Yes, sir.
Back end last time, now it's the front, huh?
Yes, sir.
Oh well. If anybody can fix it, you can. Oh, the thing that holds the conveyor belt up?
No, the cab.
Oh.
Okay, so I have my pieces in place. I've got the front one, and I went ahead and laid a 2x3 in on the back side. I just didn't feel that needed as much as what we needed up front because the weld was just cracked a little bit. And I believe just re-welding that was probably strong enough. They have an angle iron gusset. It's not the greatest gusset in the world, going down to the bottom of that 3x10 and coming up. So I just laid a 2x3 vertically, the strong way. Laid that in there. It added itself as an extra gusset. I do need to put some weld down through on the back side. I'm gonna go ahead and get the cab setting down into place, get it bolted, and then hook up those hydraulic lines. I've been oiled enough underneath there, and I feel if I get them hoses all hooked up, then I can crawl in underneath, maybe back the machine up a little bit, get out of this mess here, and weld that back side a little better. So it's coming together, so let's go ahead. Well, we have this all back together. I don't know what the camera stored in this last clip, but I went a little while and the damn camera told me it was hot and it shut off. So we have a 2x3 3/16 wall rectangle tube sitting on edge in the back, butt welded to the box frame, coming over, and it's more or less sistered right alongside or underneath the actual cross member that was originally on the truck here. I have it coming up short because there is a valve right here, and this tube would have been in the way of the hoses on that valve. I have it welded alongside that cross member, or that gusset that they have coming up to that cross member. We went ahead and put a 1.5 by 3/11 gauge tube in here for added support coming underneath that front cross member, and then of course we welded that tube back together. So we should be in good shape now. It's pretty sturdy. We'll go ahead and show you. It's a little sturdier than it was, and we should be in good shape. So, before, that would come right away from the whole truck. And we're lucky that it didn't end up falling, we're lucky the cab didn't end up falling off, because it would have ripped our wiring apart, all these hoses here. The guy would have probably got hurt that was running it, and so it should be able to go another short while here. So that's gonna do it for this one. It's nice to get this job done. I was not looking forward to finishing this in the morning and being covered with hydraulic oil and sand and everything else like that. So that's good to get this done. So we are gonna roll this on out of here, and tomorrow is another day. It is just shy of 8 o'clock. So with that being said, folks, that is gonna do it for this video. I wanna thank you for watching, and we will catch you at the next one.